My name is Caryl Espinoza Jaen. I am the opinion editor at NC State. Can I get your name and your position in government?
Jeff Jackson, State Senate, District 37.
Nice. Are you an NC State alum?
No, I'm not, but my sister is. She did undergrad and vet school there.
Gotcha. How did you become familiar with like the NCSU subreddit?
Someone who's belongs to the subreddit sent me a message and said, "Hey, you should post here. I noticed you've been posting in the Raleigh subreddit," and they invited me.
Yeah. What made you choose like Reddit to share like updates, basically?
Well, I represent Charlotte, and I had some people in Charlotte specifically ask me if I would put something on Reddit because they followed me on Twitter, and they said you should put this on Reddit. So I started posting it on the Charlotte subreddit, and then someone from the Raleigh subreddit asked, and then someone from the Greensboro subreddit asked, and it just sort of grew organically.
Yeah. What made you like start updating on the NCSU Reddit for like any reason, basically?
Well, somebody from that subreddit reached out to me and asked me if I would include them in my updates. And honestly, the folks on that subreddit have been really friendly. They've been great. Yeah,
I was gonna ask about that for like a hot minute. There was like a mod note, like basically saying why they were letting you post on the subreddit. Like, what's been like the general like feedback to your post?
I read that actually. I thought that was really cool. First of all, I totally understand someone being skeptical of some politician who doesn't represent that part of the state, sort of like parachuting in. And so I completely get the pushback on that, but I really respected the mods that sort of broke down every point that was made and said, well, he's not being partisan, he's not campaigning. And they also made sure that they said, hey, this is open to any elected official. Like if, Senator Phil Berger, who's the leader of the Senate, if he wants to post on this subreddit, he's more than welcome to do so. So I thought that was a really cool response.
Yeah. How common is it for government officials to like have a Reddit presence?
It's very rare, frankly. There's probably one or two others in the General Assembly. I don't know of any in particular, but there might be one or two others. But yeah. Reddit's tough. Like it's not like Facebook or Twitter. On Facebook, if someone wants to call you dumb, what they do is like write in all caps, like you're an idiot, ha ha ha, right? And that's not a big deal. You can sort of blow that off. You don't take those people too seriously. But on Reddit, if someone wants to call you dumb, they go paragraph by paragraph. Like they lay out the specific reasons why you're so deluded. And by the time you get to the bottom, you're like, oh man, maybe they're right. Like maybe they got a point here. It can definitely be soul crushing.
Yeah. You mentioned that you're also active on Twitter. Are there any other platforms that you're active on?
Instagram. Yeah, but Instagram is usually just me doing screenshots of my tweets, which is the lazy man's Instagram. But I don't live a very visually compelling life. Like I don't travel to Tahiti or anything like I serve in the General Assembly. It's a small building in Raleigh. You can only take so many pictures of the outside of the building before people are tired of that content.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's talk a little bit about what's going on at state government. How are you guys addressing COVID-19?
One of the major ways we're addressing it is we're getting money from the federal government to spend. And so we're sort of deciding how to spend that money. They've given us a little over $3 billion so far. So we've broken that up into different buckets. Then there are pieces of state government that need to get modified in order to accommodate the situation, like DMV. We have to make changes there to make sure they can keep functioning. And one of the big things that we're doing, which is our purpose as a state, is administering unemployment insurance. You don't have to worry about this because you're a student, but we've got hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people who are now unemployed basically by operation of the state, right? Through no fault of their own. And they are owed unemployment insurance, but the system wasn't designed to facilitate this influx, this enormous volume. The unemployment office is like this creaky little rowboat that no one really ever paid much attention to. And then it got hit by this tidal wave. They were at one point recently getting 70,000 calls every single day, like week after week after week. They just got swamped. And so a lot of our work has been to help, my work, at least in my office, help constituents figure out how to get unemployment insurance. Hundreds of emails a day at our peak.
What about police brutality?
Good question. So a lot of people think about the response to that happening at the local level because city governments are the ones that fund and sort of administer police departments. And then they think about the federal level because things like qualified immunity sort of exist at the federal level, but there's a whole other area for the state to be involved. And so, we have to put forth some proposals. I've put forth together, a list of about 6 or 7 proposals. And what we did was we looked at red states and we said, what has passed in a red state? Because it's a Republican controlled legislature. So if you actually want to get something done, one way to do that is to find things that have happened in Utah. So they've got a pretty good body camera policy that we should consider adopting. And then there's good policies out of Iowa. South Carolina gave us some good ideas. And so we put together a list. Then there was one thing that isn't on any of those lists, but should be. So we added that as well. That's making mental health professionals and social workers part of our first response network. We sort of need to broaden our concept of what it means to have first responders. You can't ask police officers to wear all these different hats. You really need to sort of specify and tailor what their role in society is. We actually have people who are trained in mental health. We actually have professional social workers in society. So let's put them to work in these contexts, because often it's more appropriate to have someone like that there who's professionally trained.
Yeah. At the office, have these policies been like bipartisan or divisive?
So far, pretty bipartisan, but the early stages of legislation are always bipartisan, right? It's the last couple innings that usually get pretty nasty. But so far, at least, we have a majority that's willing to recognize the problem. That's a big first step. When they say, we agree, there's something wrong here. That it can be really hard to just get there.
Yeah. You mentioned like basically looking at other models at like state levels. Have you guys gotten any feedback from like the federal government?
No, the federal government is sort of nowhere on this right now. I mean, Tim Scott, Republican senator from South Carolina, did a bill, but there was so little substance in it that the Democrats said, we're not interested in this. We think this is more window dressing than real. So, I mean, as usual, I think we will see nothing happen from the federal government on this front, at least for the time being.
Gotcha. What about like North Carolina citizens? Have you gotten any feedback from like the people you're representing?
I get a ton of feedback, but partly because I ask for it. Like when I put something out there, I say like, I want to hear from you, and I make myself easy to get a hold of. So people can send Facebook messages or Twitter DMs. I get a lot of Instagram direct messages, which is new. Like last year that didn't happen, but that's cool. I'm fine with that. Reddit has been great. People on Reddit, my guess, I haven't seen any data, and I'm not just saying this because we're talking about Reddit. I think they skew pretty highly educated. It's a very well-educated subset. And so like when I was talking about the paragraph form feedback that I get from people on Reddit, I learned things. I've absolutely learned things just by reading Reddit comments.
Yeah. Do you get like DMs or like messages from like the NCSU subreddit?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Gotcha. Let's see. Do you have any closing thoughts to like the NC State community?
Closing thoughts to the NC State community. I guess I would say this. When I graduated and entered the workforce, it was 2009. That was a bad time to enter the workforce. It was a period of tremendous uncertainty. And folks who are graduating now or coming up to graduating are in a very similar situation. It's maximum uncertainty. And for the first couple of years, it was really uncomfortable. But things really do get better. And if you've got a clear vision of where you want to go and you're persistent about it, you can absolutely get there. It took me a couple of years to get to where I wanted to go once I graduated. But we got there. And I just want to say I have full confidence in the graduating class of North Carolina State University that they'll be able to get there too, even through some real uncertainty.